Hello, welcome to the Disney podcast. We were just about to start it, and we were doing something about Legoland Disney and New Year. So we're gonna talk about today, and so when we talking about it, then we are going to talk about it. So we're just gonna wait for Dad to show up. Hey Dad. So we were just about to start.
Hello and welcome to the Dads of Adventure podcast. Today we are talking about Legoland holidays. I put together an episode for Legoland Halloween for their Brick or Treat event, but that never made it out around Halloween time. So we're going to go ahead and add to that. So this is the first part of that. We're talking about Legoland Christmas and New Year's. So we'll go ahead and you'll hear the information about Halloween, and you'll think, why it's not Halloween anymore. We're just covering all of the holidays. So, and in general, Legoland Resort, because we have become annual pass holders this year, which we're excited about because we love Legoland and all the things there. Right, Baylor?
Yeah.
All right. So this will be the first. So you'll hear more from the original podcast about Brick or Treat. And then we'll pick up at the end with more about Legoland Christmas and Legoland New Year's and some other exciting events that are coming up and special events at Legoland. Hello and welcome to the Dads of Adventure podcast. Today we're going to take a little bit of a break from Disney, and we're going to go talk about one of my other favorite things to do in Central Florida, Legoland, Florida. We don't go there that often, but I was pleasantly surprised when we went back this year, and I think we're going to have to make it a more frequent trip. Before we get started, just letting you know who we are and where you can find us. We are all about helping dads have positive adventures in life and at Disney or with Disney, all sorts of Disney, with their families. So you can find us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Dads of Adventure. And you can go to our website at www.dadsofadventure.com to sign up for the newsletter, find our membership, and get signed up for that as well. We'd love to have you be a part of that. It does help the show. And there's also part of the membership is, just tips on how to have a more positive experience. For example, if you, we've got changing security procedures. So we are updating that as we see, different things coming up, but, letting you know how to not get frustrated at things before you're even in the park, so that you can start your day off right. And have that positive, magical experience. So we are, getting set for some fun things here coming up, and so I'll do a special little small episode on that. But today we are talking about Legoland. You can find, if you're listening to us right now on your favorite podcast app, please subscribe and rate and review us. If you are watching on YouTube on the DreamsMagicAdventure channel, you can also find us on the podcast. And if you're listening, you can also come over to our YouTube channel, DreamsMagicAdventure, and subscribe there as well. So we appreciate any support you're providing there, and check us out. They have all of our, not just Disney videos, but travel and just all of our life adventures there as well on the video page. So, getting started with Legoland. So we were fortunate to have passes provided for us by Legoland. So I'll preface it with that. That does not change how I'm going to review this, because I still think it's totally worth the ticket price to be there. But just want to say that up front that we were provided tickets and parking for this experience. So that being said, again, it's an awesome experience. I need to add it to my list more and more. My kids are at a very good age for it, but what I found on this trip too is that Legoland is really appealing to like all different types of age groups, and I was super excited as an adult to be there, and all the things that are there for a number of reasons, which we'll go over here in a moment. But while we were there at Legoland, right now they're doing we're in the Halloween time, so they were doing the Brick or Treat, which is their Halloween festival. So there's stuff all over the parks, Lego themed, like pumpkin heads and mummies. They have like a whole like band at the front of Legoland that's doing like dance parties and things like that. And there's just all sorts of things. I mean, you could go in there and admire the fact that they have all of these Lego builds, and they note like how many hours it took, how many bricks are in each one. So they're just like Lego sculptures around the park. So just even that is an amazing thing that's part of Legoland. Legoland, Florida, is where the Cypress Gardens used to be, in the winter haven area of Florida. There's lots of towns called Winter that are like around in vicinity of Disney, and the Orlando Kissimmee type area, and that is one of them. But it's kind of set off into its own area. It's not like a part of like International Drive and like all of and Kissimmee and all of the touristy type area. There is some things built up around that, but the Legoland Florida is based on the previous site for Cypress Gardens, and there while part of Cypress Gardens still exists, so you can access that. We haven't had time to even get there because there's so much to do at Legoland. But with that, they have, they didn't just like tear down, what was there. They built all the pathways, all of the, attractions and things like that into Cypress Gardens. So you've got like, live oaks dripping with like Spanish moss and just all of these extraordinary trees and plants and vegetation, and most importantly, for going to a theme park in Central Florida, shade. So there's always a great spots to grab some shade there, where you're not out in the sun. And they also have a water park that is available as well, and that is we did have admission to that. I think I'll have to double check, but there may be additional fees for that. But it was an awesome experience as well, and we'll get to that in just a moment. So first things coming to Legoland, I love the entrance. It has the Legoland, great place to take pictures and everything. And then right off to the side is the new pirate themed hotel. So it's right there, like literally, walking distance to the park. And they have other hotels too. They have like a resort type themed one with a beach and everything. And then they also have like the main Legoland hotel as well. So all of them are very, very close to the actual park itself, and which is amazing. So if you're staying there, you have a very short walk to get in to the actual park itself. Some cool things about how Legoland does stuff. There's, as far as like tickets go, I won't say like the ticket price. I'll have you check the ticket prices, but like, it's not that much more expensive to add like a second day. It's also not, they have options where you can add for not too much more an annual pass for anybody that's, more local to the area or within driving distance. And it's not that far from Disney too. So if you were planning like a Disney trip and wanted to do a couple days at Legoland, that's good. You do need to be aware of like the days that they're open right now. They're open 5 days a week. So right now they're not, except on certain times. So you definitely need to check the calendar to see when they're open. Right now they're not open. Like this week, they're not open on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, but like around Thanksgiving and around Christmas, they are open all week. Hours vary greatly, different days, so you need to check that out too. On the particular day that we were there, it's 10 to 6 p.m., which is a little bit of a stretch to get everything in one day. So I would recommend 2 days. I mean, we probably did half the things in the park. We did, kind of did it in a leisurely pace too, which is great, which you can totally do. Coming into the park, they're, they very friendly cast. Oh, I almost said cast members, but that they are not cast members. They are model citizens. So I think that's a cool little designation for their cast and that are taking care of you. So the model citizens are there to help. Very friendly, and as you're coming into the park, there's also what I think is a great thing. There's a height measurement chart, so you can get your kids can go get measured on this chart that's at the front of the park, and then they receive a wristband that they would wear throughout the park, and it tells the other model citizens that are operating the lines and everything, the queues, if they're tall enough, so they aren't constantly having to get height checked and things like that. So that is a great option, especially if you have a kid who's borderline and everything. You know exactly what they can go on. There's options, to look at the attractions within the app. They have a great app on the phone too, that gives you wait times and things like that. There are a few attractions where you can, right now, where you could do like a virtual queue for some of the more popular attractions. I think it's just the more popular attractions. That's what we did on a couple of them. But one of the things right now, at least when we're right here, is it's not like super crowded at the moment. And for Legoland's sake, I hope it gets a little bit more crowded. But they have taken a little bit different approach than Disney as far as like masks and things like that. They do recommend them. They recommend social distancing, but they also do not require masks in open areas. Right now, there's plenty of like distance so that if you want to stay away from people who aren't wearing masks, that's you can totally do that. But it is nice to, if you're just in an open area walking and there's not other people, there you can have that little break too without having to be eating or stationary or whatever. So that is, but you can totally wear one if you want to. So I think it provides for a level of comfort in a lot of places. I'll obviously be respectful of others, and even if you're not a believer in the mask, don't just be respectful of others and their space and everything for people who do. Because we just want to be respectful of others. That helps everybody have a positive experience. So but that is a little bit different on the policies for masks there at Legoland. The Also, we were there like for Brick or Treat, which I'll explain in just a moment. But those like special holiday events are only on certain days. They also have their Christmas time events coming up here. So I looked on their website currently, and there may, it's possible they may add other dates. So you want to check that out before you head there. But Brick or Treat is today, as I'm recording this, on the 24th, the 25th, and the 31st. So I expect the 31st to be a little more crowded. But if you are, different people are doing different things for Halloween as far as neighborhoods and things like that. But Brick or Treat is there and available if you're looking for a Halloween experience on the 31st. And it's not all park hours. They have done it differently this year than they did in previous years. Previous years, there was like a little path, and all of the stations were there. But basically, they have themed stations at different areas of the park where they have them spread out through the park now. Um, and you get a little treat bag that's provided, and as you go up to the station, they have long PVC pipes that allow for social distancing, that they slide the candy down into your kid's bag, which is pretty cool in general. Kids don't have to necessarily know that is for social distancing purposes. It's just cool to receive your candy slid down a PVC pipe and into your bag. I mean, that's pretty awesome, I think. But there's lots of stations for that. They even had like a little candy corn scavenger hunt that was going on, and you could get like a little card, in that area where they're having the scavenger hunt. And you look for little pieces of candy corn around that area. I believe it was over more towards the Duplo area of the park, and my kids did that, and they gave them like a free little Lego brick as a prize for that. And there was a contest they could enter by putting their completed card and information into the box, and I forget what the prize was, but it was worthy of completing the journey and putting it in there. So that was pretty cool. That was a neat little extra there. We didn't make it to all the brick or treat booths because again there was lots of things to do there. So one of the first things that we did, we signed up for a virtual queue for the Lego Movie Masters of Flight ride. So think, if you're a Disney fan, think kind of like Soarin', but different. It's a similar concept, but I think they have done an excellent job at like creating a super like surreal experience. I won't give away like what it is because I think it's awesome to, when you get on the attraction, you don't really know a lot of what's happened. I will mention that there's some steps. There's a lot of there's several attractions, especially ones that are like round attractions like roller coasters and things like that have steps. So keep in mind that. I'm sure if you needed it, for some of them, especially like this ride, there's like multi-levels. So, request that if you need it. But like we went up to like a third floor, and that was, living in flat land in Florida. That's that's a bit more. We're not used to climbing those steps. We don't have steps in our house at the moment. So, that was an awesome experience. Again, I'm not going to describe it because I think it's one of those things that you need to be there. But I will just tell you that it's awesome. It's geared around Emmett, of course, and from the Lego Movie, and you just get to experience being a part of that Lego Movie. So I'll leave it there. So that was really cool. One thing that's a little bit different than Disney, just to keep in mind as you're planning for your trip, is a lot of the attractions they have little cubbies that are off, when you to the area where you get off the attraction, where they have you store your stuff. So like right now, if you're not wanting to put your stuff in a place where other people are putting their stuff, they are doing like sanitizing procedures and stuff like that, but it's not like after every person puts their stuff there. So just plan for that. They do have lockers, but the lighter you can do things, or if you have like a stroller that you have, or you can leave your bags out there and only have the things that you need on you. They do have you put the loose items there, whereas at Disney, most of the time you can take them on the attraction or put them in like a little bag or under seat compartment that's on the attraction itself. So that was a cool experience. One of my kids' favorites things, and what we did while we were waiting for that attraction for the virtual queue, which the virtual queue was not that long. We didn't have to wait very long to be there, and there wasn't. Right now, there's not many lines most places. That can be a thing, when they're at full capacity, because the lines can be shorter but take a little bit longer because some of these experiences are very unique. We'll go over some of that in a moment here, but one of the things that they like is the Royal Joust. It's literally like a little track that runs, around, and it's like a little, Lego horse, and it could be a boring ride where it just goes around, but it has a little like horse step to it. And that makes it like the best attraction ever. There's little like animatronics and like little things that they're setting off as they go throughout the little course there, and the horse neighs, and yeah, they have hit the nail on the head for like getting that attraction right. And I'm going to get all these all out of order on what we did, but that's okay. So the other thing they have there is refillable drink cups. And I'm going to misestimate this, but they're about that tall. If you're listening, that's, I don't know the size of my head. But probably in the upper 20s to 30 something ounce range, I would guess. For the cups, they have handles on the top, so they're easy to carry around, especially if you don't have a stroller. But they are cup holder size, so if you have cup holders on a stroller, you can also fit them there. For us, I think it's a good value. They have Coke Freestyle machines and little like stations all around the park. Sometimes those lines can get a little bit longer, but there's lots of options. There's even like specialized Legoland flavors that are there, so that's cool. And less frequent, but also awesome is you can also get ices in there. So they have a few different flavors of ices available, including Coke flavored ices if you're into that. So the cups, the more you get, the less it is. I think it's like $13 after you get 3 or 4 of them, which sounds like a lot, but as you're going through the park, they have like sparkling water, and I think there's like some Powerade options. Think Coke brand options or freestyle machine options that you've seen other places. Lots of flavors and different things like that. So you're not going to run out of variety. You can also use them at the fountains, at some of the restaurants, and they're just convenient to do, and I think it worth it to have available to you. They are tracked, so you can add an additional day for those for like half the price or something like that. But it's tracked by like a little RF chip that's in the bottom of the cup. So you set your cup on that to confirm you have your RF chip, and then you can go fill up your cup. The icy machine, or actually they're giving you like a disposable cup so that you're not putting your cup that you've been drinking out of in the machine itself. So you get your disposable cup, you pour it into your cup, off you go. For the icy ones, some of the stations were doing it for you because it's hard to pour an icy out of a cup into another cup. But excuse me, that was available too. I'm going to stop for some water for a moment. All right. So definitely worth it. And there's different flavors and things like that if you go to different places throughout the park. And I wanted to take a quick moment to talk about the treats that are there as well. So like there's in the section where they have like they're all different like themed areas. So there's like a cars and like first responder type attractions. area, and there's like a firehouse that's like an ice cream stand. So that is a cool place. They have all sorts of different ice creams and things like that. One of the featured things they had was a like chocolate covered waffle cone with cookie dough and I believe like some toppings and sprinkles and things like that. You can definitely share that. I wouldn't recommend one person eating the whole thing, but it was an extraordinary dessert. I will say that. One of the things that Legoland is also famous for is apple fries. So those are available at the front of the park. So you want to, they're not available in the back. One of the things about Legoland is like you need to get, like if you're hungry for a specific snack or something like that, you need to plan when you're going to be there because there can be some distance to get. It's not like a not huge distance, but it's not like food is where it is. Sometimes it's a little bit of a distance to get back to the food. So it's there. Some of the food locations are also closed. Some of the shops are also closed. So that's, key to if you're looking for something, you might want to get it when it's there. Because, the other shops may be closed. They might have different closing times. That's one thing to kind of keep in mind for Legoland. But I don't know if they'll extend that through November. I assume they will. But they did have some pumpkin. We didn't get to try them, but they had pumpkin spiced apple fries for the season as well. They didn't advertise them. I didn't see a sign for them or anything, but they did have those. For coffee lovers, you may want to get your coffee outside the park. They do have like some Joffrey's coffee options at their different stands that they have coffee. The main coffee shop was closed at the front of the park, which that's one of the main places to get coffee. But then they have like Dunkin' Donuts in like a bottle, in like a refrigerated bottle. So if you were a coffee fan, those are your options for coffee in the park. Just to give you a heads up on that, because that seems to be a growing trend. And allegiances to certain brands. But there's that. There was, as far as food goes, there was a neat little stand that was over by like the jousting and like medieval area near the Dragon Coaster. There was like a stand that had like hot dogs and different other themed foods. And I think it had like a dragon leg, which is like a turkey leg. So some of those options sounded good. Some of them were like unique. The first time we went to Legoland, we had like some paninis from their panini shop. Those were okay, but the food was, they have either stepped up their game or we got the wrong, different food than what we should have last time. But they do have. There's one area, and I can't remember if it was open this time, but they have like a all you care to eat option there for like pizza and salad. And then we went to the chicken restaurant, which that one's only open on certain days, but they did have mobile order for that. I think it was the only thing they had mobile order for. But that was really good. They had chicken sandwiches. The atmosphere in there was pretty cool. There's a big old mural of like all these Lego people like cooking and everything. It's like a diner type atmosphere. You can get like chicken sandwiches and there's like a salad, kale salad that's available. There were like macaroni bites. All of it was really, really good. I thought for my expectations were at a certain point for food, but I really enjoyed it. I got like a spicy chicken sandwich. It really wasn't spicy, so I will tell you that, but it was a good, nice. I had the fried chicken sandwich. You can get grilled chicken sandwiches. Everything looked good that we got. We got a variety of different things, and they had fries. They just like, I think we got more fries than we needed, but their fries were really good too. They did get cold quickly, so I recommend eating those first. But they kind of give you everything in like one bag, kind of like if you've eaten at Five Guys and they have a bunch of fries in there. They are in separate containers, but you might get some more than what you expected possibly. So other things that we did, again, we did the brick or treat. We did a few of those. There were lots throughout the park. One of the things we did was the Lost Kingdom Adventures. So there's an area of the park that's kind of like adventure themed, and normally there's like a play structure, and there's lots of play structures throughout Legoland. A lot of them were closed because of right now, but there were a lot that were available. So the Lost Kingdom Adventure, I think, is my absolute favorite attraction, and I haven't ridden them all, so I can't say that it's the best yet, but I would put it up there. So think like dark ride Buzz Lightyear meets Indiana Jones type, but with Legos type situation going on. Or you have like your blaster. I kind of like it better than the Buzz Lightyear ones. I'll go ahead and say that it is like on a cord, so you can pick it up and you have a little bit more freedom of movement, which I know in Disneyland you have that too for Buzz Lightyear, but it's really neat. Like there's all these different scenes and animatronics and that you're going through, and I am blanking on the name of the hero and the villain, but they are pretty awesome, and I'll probably post some video of that in a video on our DreamsMagicAdventure channel, so you can get a look at that as well. But it's just it's a nice long attraction too, and yeah, so it's one. I think that's my favorite of all of the attractions we got a chance to experience. We also experienced the dragon, which this one I'll tell you, like I'm a bigger guy just height wise and things like that, so it is a little bit less comfortable for me, but not where I couldn't do it. But it's like a roller coaster attraction, and part of it is roller coaster, like outside roller coaster, and then part of it is a dark ride with animatronics and like a whole storyline and everything. So it's really really cool, the mix of things that they have there. And when you're outside and kind of looking at, you've got to ride these things to understand like how neat they are, because you can't really see it from the outside until you, like on those dark rides, that it is a dark ride and everything. You wouldn't know. They also have lots of different like shows throughout. There's like a 4D show and things like that. We didn't get a chance to do that because we just didn't have time. But they do have the 4D theater. One of our other favorites was Miniland. So they have like a whole section, like huge section that's just like surrounded by like the cypress gardens trees. You have access. I think that's the area where you would like go off in a certain direction, and then you can access actual cypress gardens and get over there too, to see the gardens as well. So if you need a little break, you can go over there. It's right near the area where they normally would have like fireworks. They're not doing those right now, but they have awesome fireworks over this lake typically. I think they have a water show too. But the fireworks are neat. They're pirate themed. I think they're changing them up a little bit. I saw some indication that fireworks might be coming back, because in looking at the events on 2021, and I'm not saying like soon, but they had information about like 4th of July. So So I don't know if they just put that in there, but um, they give you like some glasses that as the it's like a whole show. It's not just fireworks, but it's like a pirate show and fireworks and things like that. And again, it's over this lake, and you also get like glasses that turn it into Lego bricks if you want to watch it that way. So pretty cool experience. We experienced it last time we were there. Was not a thing this time. Park closes at 6, so it was still light outside, which may change. Maybe a little bit changing as we go here. But that area is neat too. There's lots of neat attractions there. There's like a tower where you are like pulling a cord to get yourself up the tower. So there's a lot of attractions where like you're powering the vehicle. There's like a machine that goes around where you're like flying, and you are pedaling to get yourself up and down. So there's a lot of neat, again, unique things. There's like a boat ride that you can go on. We didn't go on it this time, but you're actually driving the boat. It's not a track, so you can get turned around, and it's not a big deal. And they help you out, and you move on. And one of the coolest things I think probably for kids, again, is the like first responders type attractions area. So over there they have the National Fire Prevention Association. I think I got that right. Rescue Academy. So you're in like a fire truck, and you're pumping, the truck to move the truck over to the area, and then you pump some more to get and you're like racing other families if they're there. Again, it's it was a little bit lower crowds, so we had their own stuff. But then you're pumping water, trying to put out this fire, and then you go back. So that's cool, especially for kids. And then, but family. I mean, it was just fun as an adult too. And then they had the Lego. Ford sponsors this, but the driving school, and they have really thought this out. It's not an attraction that adults can go on, but what kid does not want to be able to drive their own vehicle around a mini town? So if you're certain ages and heights, you can go to the driving school, and you have like a whole little city laid out, where they instruct you on proper road techniques, staying in your lane, obeying stop signs and stoplights. My son that was able to go on this one loved this. He and the wait times were such that he was able to go on it again, and he pretty much had the whole course to himself. So, and the cast members or model citizens will sit in the vehicles too. It looks a little funny because there's adults in like kid-sized cars, but they're going around, they're instructing them, giving them information, and being very helpful throughout the attraction. So I think that's cool that they do that. There's also, if your kid doesn't reach those requirements, they have realized that, and I don't know how long they've had this, but they have a mini driving school next door, and that's just one lap, but it's smaller cars, and again, the cast members model citizens go with them around that, and they can participate as well, and they're right next to each other. So it's like if you have two parents, you can easily split up, and you're still in the same area for the kids to go on those, or one can go on one, and then the other one can go on the next one. So it's pretty cool. We actually had a need to get a shirt for a couple reasons there. So we got the Lego driving school shirt, and I will they have themed merchandise for each like specific location. So like shirts and things like that themed to like the attraction that you're near. Those were pretty cool. I know that's very Disney too, but I was just impressed with some of the things that they had. So this Lego driving school shirt, it's simple, but it's like really good material. Like it's, this shirt is going to hold up. It's not going to be one that is gone soon. We got a little bit bigger than we needed to, so that he could wear it for a while. But yeah, it was a really nice shirt. So I was impressed. Good job, Legoland merchandise team. Um, and in that area, that's where the ice cream shop is that I mentioned, the Rescue Academy fire or ice cream shop. There is a icy machine in that shop. I'm gonna point that out. There's one in the front of the park. There's one in like Duplo Valley, and then there's one in the water park area. There might be some others too, but those are ones that I know of. But for like your drink refills. There's also some of the other things. These are just highlights. There are a lot more. There's this safari trek. There's like a double-decker carousel that's kind of like the centerpiece as you're branching off into the different directions to go into some of the different lands. And there was a really cool, my kids were not tall enough to ride this, but I can't remember the name of the area, but it's like, yeah, I'm not even going to try it. But there was a crazy coaster ride called Mia's Riding Adventure, where you're like sitting on like a Lego horse. It's a disc, and the disc flows up and down. If you've ever been on one of like those pirate swinging rides, it's like that. Only there's a disc that's spinning around at the same time while you're on a horse facing outward. So I think my kids are going to love that when they get a chance to ride it. Looked pretty crazy, but something that would be fun. One of the main attractions, let me get some water here. One of the main attractions that we did not get a chance to go on was the Great Lego Race, which is a VR experience. So it's like a coaster type, excuse me, coaster type attraction. And I'm not sure how they're doing this. I didn't get a chance to fully see it for current times, but normally it's a like VR experience. So I don't know exactly what it is because I haven't been on it. But from what I understand, it's like you're on the coaster, but like you're wearing like a VR helmet type thing. And so you're experiencing another world while you're on this coaster, which I think is brilliant. There's also there's all different age level rides. There's like a cool safari trek. I wanted to go on that. It was geared a little bit more towards little kids, but again, it appealed to me as an adult. There's something called Coastersaurus, and they have like little planes that you're driving. Again, there's the boats. There's also another boat area. There's a part where you're trying to save Bricksville by spraying water and stuff like that. They mentioned that you'll get soaked if you're there, but that would be that's a cool little area as well. And then we also went to there's lots more than that. So check out all the attractions. Again, we could tell which ones our kids could go on, which in Legoland most of them are ones that they can go on. And it's neat because they can go on them by themselves, and parents can take a break. It's and then there's other ones that adults can go on where you get to experience it. So it's a mix of both, which I like. It's neat that they can experience those by themselves when, if we're at Disney, there's not a lot of things that they can go on by themselves right now. All right. One of the awesome things that we were able to do while we were there at Legoland was go to their water park. So that was really neat. It had a number of different types of things that you could do. So it wasn't just all water slides and pools and things. They have a pretty long lazy river that you can go on, and it's not so lazy. It's a little quickly paced, so keep that in mind. But you can have double tubes. They have ones that where the hole is like capped at the top, so if you have younger kids, you can stick them on top of there, and they won't be like in the water or falling out. Mine were kind of in between. They didn't want to sit on top. There, they wanted to be down in the tube, but I did. I was getting them back in the tube because you do have to stay in the tube throughout. But it's really cool. They had some of the tubes were fixed with like a foundation of bricks, so they had bricks in the water where you could pick up the bricks as you went and like build as you're going down the lazy river, which I thought was pretty awesome. Um, there's a area right there nearby with like low entry, zero entry, where the water's very shallow, and you can there's small kids slides, which they love too. And then as you go a little bit farther into the park, there things get a little bit bigger, but there are still things that younger kids can do. There's a big wave pool. There's different areas where people can be. So again, the wristbands tell you like where you could where different kids could be in the wave pool. They also had bricks there and like little islands that you could sit on in the wave pool, and build your double-decker couch. And if you don't get that reference, then you need to check out the Lego movie. But the double-decker couch there, there were larger water slides in the distance, but we didn't go quite that far. We went to a like the play structure, which had like 4 or 5 different slides of varying levels of I would say for kids like scariness and things like that. Adults could be in there. I didn't see any adults going down the slides, so I don't think they could go on the slides. But you could be in there with your kids if you needed to. But we were able to just take a moment to relax in the beach chairs, find some shade, because again there's trees and things around. There's not as much shade in the water park area, but there is some. So we're able to find the shade and hang out there and just watch them have fun and go up and down and all around. Giant, has like the giant bucket that's on top that pours out every once in a while. But it was an impressive amount of stuff that was in that play structure. They stayed in there quite a while and enjoyed themselves. I was there too. I enjoyed it. I could have gone in there. I did the wave pool with them. I did the lazy river. So lots of things for adults to do as well. They have like a couple snack stands. I think one of them wasn't open, but you could get like ices there, and you could refill your cups there too, and food and whatnot. They had like a nice bathrooms that were changing areas. They had like bathrooms in the other area too, so you didn't have to trek all the way to the front to do that as well. They had a number of interesting, specific to Legoland type attractions as well. So one of them was like a big like water play table, where kids had like little squirt guns and they could like shoot at like propellers and make them move. We also have like moving parts and things like that. And the water was flowing down. They could make bricks and build things and just all sorts of creative stuff they could do. There's also another big water table, and this one was like in the shade, so it was kind of neat. Some picnic tables off to the side if you just want to watch and see, or you can be up there and be interactive, where kids could build boats. I think there were some that were like pre-constructed, but they could add to them. They could build them, and before even so with the Legos, just to give you a sense of that, because we'll talk about it when we get to the hotel. But they're constantly coming around and sanitizing the Legos. Like you can, the sanitizer is very fresh on the Legos, so they're making making sure that that is safe as well as far as handling and whatnot goes. But they can do these boat races where they put them up at the top, and they come down and through this course and everything, and it's really neat. So that's what we did at the water park. Again, there was lots of things else to explore. There were really tall slides that we never got to because we just, there was a lot to do. Water park isn't closes a little bit before park closing, so you want to check those times to make sure. We got in there for like probably an hour or so before park closing, but you can definitely do that. So that was a water park. Really enjoyed that. It's not on every ticket, so you do have to get a specific ticket for that. But if you're wanting to take a little break, especially once they get back to like a little bit longer hours, if you want to take a break in the middle of the day and go to the water park and some of the attractions there, it's definitely something to consider. And it is access, you have access through the park as well. So that was, that section of the park. And after that, we kind of walked to the front. We did a couple other things as we were going back. And I forgot to mention, there was like in the medieval area, there was like a couple guys doing like a show in that area, just like a comedy sketch routine. They had themed it around the brick or treat. So they might be, I saw in some of the advertisements for the Christmas things coming up that they would look like they would be there doing some, I assume, like Christmas themed stuff as well. So cool. Yeah. So so I really enjoyed the food. The merchandise was very quality that we got. Lots of Lego sets, of course. And they have Legoland masks that you can buy there. Parking, I forgot to mention, parking is there is a fee for parking. There's premium parking that's like under the shade, so they have that available too. But most of the parking is fairly convenient to the actual park itself, so you're not parking like super far away. Regardless of where you park. Some are closer than others. But, that was good. We took some time to explore the hotels. We weren't staying, or the resorts. We weren't staying there. But we went in, we wanted to see the new pirate theme, which on the outside is just super themed and stuff like that. It's attached to the main Legoland hotel, so they're kind of like two parts of the same building almost. But the outside is cool. There's like a boat and everything. And again, it's like you cross the street after you exit the park and you're at the hotel. That's how close it is. In the main Legoland hotel, they had like, kiosk where you could check in. The backdrop, and you have to see it to kind of understand it, but the backdrop behind the lobby space is really cool because it's like a million Lego men, the Lego women, Lego people, all over. I can imagine how small those are, how many there are in that mosaic of Lego people. In there's a play area. There's like a bar type area that also has some food. There's a main restaurant area. And there's a couple area like pre-play Lego area, like Lego pieces. Again, they're sanitizing those regularly and coming around and doing that as we were there. And then there's the pirate themed area. So there's like the little There's a bar area in there as well with like some seating, um, and in that area, and there's like play areas for the Legos, and they're really setting it so adults and kids can have the experience that they want. Normally they have like pajama parties. I'm not sure if I think those were not happening at the time, but they have like pajama parties in like the main area. Back to the Pirate Hotel, they um, had like a little cove type area. It's just like you accessed it through. Adults can go in there too, but it was like a little like if you went into like a little cave and you had like your map of where you were going, and it was really neat. There's a little Lego building area. There's the map. There was like a little box that you've pressed a button, and there's like a little cargo hold, and there's a little voice saying, "Let me out, let me out." Um, it was supposed to be like a jail type area too. So there's little bars which kids love. My kids love, and anyway. But it's nice, really good theming. We are going to experience one of the rooms at some point here, so we'll report back on that. Be sure to check our YouTube channel in the coming months here for that video and information once we get that together. But we will be staying there, so we can tell you a little bit more about the rooms. But just from what we saw in the lobby, it was great. There is a all you care to eat meal that looked really pirate themed, restaurant type meal that looked really good when I was looking at the options on there. I think it was for dinner. I don't know if it was for lunch, but it looked really good. I think you had to make reservations for that. Trying to think what else we talk about, but there's lots more to talk about. But I just again, we couldn't experience all of it. But again, that pirate area is just super super well themed. Looking forward to going and experiencing the actual resort itself. We're actually going on a day when the park is not open. Again, the park's not open every day, so be sure to check that. But it's going to be an experience in itself, so we don't, we aren't worried about the park not being open when we're there. But yeah, definitely looking forward to that. And just a note about like leaving. Again, there are options to like convert to annual passes. Some of the annual passes do have blackout dates and things like that. So you definitely need to check those out. They are running a special. It's going to be their 10-year anniversary at next year. So they have some things on their website about we want to celebrate with you. And I don't know how long this offer is doing. It might be over by the time you listen to this podcast, so don't hold me to it. But they were offering a $99 annual pass. Don't know what level that is. Don't know what the blackout, if there are, what blackout dates those may be, what may be included with that. So definitely check their website for that information. But, that's a pretty good deal because, Legoland... there are other theme parks that try to compete head to head with Disney, and they head to head is with Disney is not always going to work because Disney is has what they have and their experiences. One of the things I wanted to say about Legoland is it's just a super unique experience. There are some things that they're doing that you could say compete with the other theme parks, but they are not like super. They are their own thing. Again, like for I would use. Probably from last year's experience, I might say that it's a little bit more for younger kids, like for 4 to 10 to 12. But they are really stepping it up and providing experiences for everybody that everybody can participate in. So I am excited, as like I said, as an adult to go there. I'm excited about the attractions. I'm excited for my kids to be able to go on attractions on their own, because that gives them their independence in being able to do that, um, and a break for parents too. So that is a real plus for Legoland, is that they're doing their own thing. It's a different experience. So if you're taking time out of your say you're doing on a Disney trip and you're taking time out of Legoland, it's going to be a different thing. It's not going to be the same thing that you're experiencing at Disney or Universal or other places. Um, so I really love that. Almost forgot about one of the coolest attractions that we went to. There's a whole I think it's Ninjago. I'm not an expert in that, so uh, forgive me if I mispronounce it. But it was a whole like area. There was like a wall where they could act like a ninja and compete against each other. There was a whole section of all of that stuff, and neat little mini attractions inside there. And that's what's cool about Legoland, is all there's many attractions and like places to sit and places to take pictures, and um, just for all ages. Um, and one of the things I was excited about, which wasn't open, but they do have some food trucks in there, which weren't there. I'm pretty sure weren't there last time. Um, but I'm excited to see what that food truck may hold when they are open. Um, so another thing to be excited about and going back, but the attraction itself, and I think this is one of the ones that was probably on the priority thing, that you didn't necessarily have to use it at this particular moment, that we were there, because we got right on. But you are in like a 3D experience, and think closest thing I can compare it to, but it's different, would be like Midway Mania type ride, where you have 3D glasses and things are going out, and but you are throwing fireballs and all sorts of other things. Um, but it's based on your hands. You don't have to hold anything. So it really seems like you are part of that experience. You're like throwing, there's different colors, so you can tell which person is throwing what. But based on sensors, it senses your hands, just your hands in the vehicle, and you're going through all these different experiences and being a ninja, and just taking out the enemies, um, and just all sorts of things. So again, one of those things that you wouldn't probably know what it was until you experienced it and how cool it is. So again, Legoland is totally providing awesome experiences throughout the parks. Um, so love it. I think that's pretty much wraps things up. I did want to mention one other thing. Just going through my list here to make sure we're covering everything. But one of the cool things for the wait times, they show wait times. Again, you can have the app, and there's Wi-Fi and everything to bring. So I'll mention this first, but right now there's not a lot of places to like charge your phone in Legoland. There's places that they have set up, but right now some of them are not available for social distancing reasons. So even if you have a charger with you, there's not a lot of like outlets and things like that to do that. They don't have like fuel rod stations like Disney does. So just make sure your phone's charged, and you bring, probably like a battery pack with you if you can, to charge your phone up. But and main reasons so you can use the app, because the app's really cool and useful throughout the park. But they also, on the wait times, not only do they have the wait time for that ride, but they also have wait times for other attractions that are nearby. So that way it helps you, if you're not looking at the app, you can look at that and see, um, okay, this one has a longer wait right now, but this one doesn't. So I'm going to go over here and do that. So they kind of spread everybody out through the park that way. Um, and it's really useful information. So they're just constantly thinking of like useful information to provide for you, and I appreciate. So again, bravo to Legoland, all the things that they're thinking of, really stepping up their food game there with the chicken restaurant that we went to, and I'm looking forward to going back there. Yeah, it's we might end up getting the taking advantage of that offer to get annual passes there. Even though we're pass holders at Disney, I could see us going to Legoland a lot. The kids are right at the right age, but again, all ages can have fun and experience everything at Legoland. Whether you're going to see just the mini city that's built there, and a lot of it's interactive too, or you're going for the coasters, you're going for kids, you're going for younger kids, older kids. Um, Everybody can enjoy an experience at Legoland. They're really stepping up their resort game. Resorts are super convenient to the experience there. Again, the park is beautiful because of the fact that it's built in the area where Cypress, where they took over Cypress Gardens, and Cypress Gardens is still there. I can't really report on that because I didn't. Both times we didn't have time to get over there to see it. But I love a good garden, southern garden as well. So um, and I appreciate some shade in a theme park. Um, Again, the refillable cups, recommend those. And again, just lots of things. Again, Brick or Treat, there's not too many dates for that left, but that'll be there next year. So if you're listening to this podcast later on that, Brick or Treat is really fun. Fun experience. And again, the days left for this year are 24th, which is today. But it doesn't open until 10 o'clock, so you still have some time to get there, maybe. 25th, and then on the 31st. So if you're missing out on, or your neighborhood's not doing, if you're in Florida and your neighborhood's not doing trick or treat, you can go experience a socially distanced option for trick or treating at Brick or Treat. Again, not all hours of the park, so there are certain hours when that's going on. So just check that. And then their Christmas experiences, which I haven't experienced yet, and I hope to do that here. And we'll experience the Pirate Hotels to report back on that. If we do go to the Christmas experience, we'll report back on that. But looking at just some of the pictures and some of the things that they had planned for that, and knowing all the things that they were doing for Brick or Treat as far as stage shows and things like that we didn't even get a chance to experience, and even those were limited from what they had been doing before. I'm excited about the Christmas experience that they have available there. Again, only on certain days do they have all of it going, but the park is still decorated throughout the week. If you go throughout the week, that is still cool in itself. So December 5th through 6th, 12th through 13th, 19th through 20th, and 24th through the 31st are the days for the Christmas experience that are currently on the calendar. Again, check the calendar, and they might add more. I don't know. They might change their hours. Right now is just a check and see before you go type situation. Um, and again, remember, one of the key things is to check on all of the different restaurant times, see when they close, water park, shops, things like that. And if you see it and you're looking for it, I would recommend getting it there because it might be a long walk back to get back to thing, and it may not be available in another shop. So um, those would be my recommendations. Some of the things are closed right now, but that did not affect us in any way from having plenty to do throughout Legoland, and way more than we could do, probably even in 2 days. 2 days we could probably experience most of it, I would think, but going back a second day, we probably want to repeat some of our favorite attractions, so we may not get to everything even in 2 days there. So again, great experience, and highly recommend it for anybody who wants to take part in that. Hi everyone, just recording a quick segment here. The Legoland episode and the special events portion of that got to be a little bit too long, so this will be the end of part one, where we're just talking about Brick or Treat and just Legoland in general. And then in the next episode, we'll pick back up with part two, where Baylor will join me and we'll talk a little bit more about Legoland Christmas, Legoland New Year's experiences that we had, and some upcoming experiences that are happening at Legoland too, including one coming very soon. So stay tuned for part two. It's the end of part one, and we'll pick right back up in part two. Thanks for joining us.